Till yesterday, we were looking based upon, we are just working on the UI, right? How to display the table, how to display the record, like forms. We have seen inside form, how to customize the tabs section. We have seen that, right? Now today we will be seeing like, suppose I want to have some logical implementation. So because whenever we are working for any business solution, we won't work for simply what you call simply plain data, right? We will having some validation tools. We will have some has to update up automatically, something like that, right? So like that, we will be working. We need to keep various rules on the data. We need to work like that, right? So let's take that. Do you see my screen? Do you see my screen?
Saris, yes.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Now I'm going to my app. We were using my ticketing tool, right? Now here, I just have my app, my ticketing tool app. Okay, here I have various. Here we have yesterday we have created student feedbacks and we have added various entities like master data entity. We created areas, everything. So till now we just seen the UI related only sitemap configuration, this views configuration, columns in the views. After the columns, you have to display edit filters for views. And if you open any record, how to display these tabs, everything like this. We just worked on the till now. We just worked on the UI related. Now we are just going to step one more extra step, that is a deeper to related to CRM. So we want to have the customize the some business logics. So without coding by default, what can we do? Okay, let's see them today. Here click on advanced settings. So whenever you want to make any changes, you will be using Power App Portal, right? So here also I am going to use the same. So I'm clicking on the solution. So yesterday I was using this day 8 solution, right? So I'm going to continue the same. Okay. So once you create any table, we see that columns will be created by default. You will be working on them. Relationships will be created. You will be working on them. Keys will be created. You will be working on. So far we covered till dashboards, right? Now today we have business rules. So what do you mean by business rules? Business rules in CRM like they are kind of a formula. So whenever you want to have any kind of some kind of if you want to do with minimal thing, you will have this feature. Let's click on new business rule. Whenever you click on new business rule, here you see you have this condition step, then you have these actions. So with the business rule, you can do these many actions like lock, unlock. Now, what is my requirement here? Suppose the student name should be locked always. If it contains data, you should lock. Means once he enters the data, you shouldn't able to change it. So if you want that kind of validation, that kind of rules, you can use this business rule. So what you will do whenever you put condition here, you have to put condition here. What is my entity? This is the entity. Here, what is my field? Student name, right? So whenever you have student name, here you have various operator contains, does not equal to, does not contain, begins with various conditions you can put. So once you put this contents value, instead of you can put the contents data as well. Suppose if you want to check only contents some value, you will keep contents. So so whenever student enters the value, I want to make it lock. So once he enter the value, I don't want to display it. I don't want to allow to edit. Lock means. Now here, I just added the condition. In the next step, if you see in the business text view, if student name contains data, then we are adding right? Now here, if you see, we have various options it is showing. What are the options we have? Add block, add show and error message, add set field value, set default value, set business required, set visibility. So first thing we are just having to have add block, right? So we will see here. So what I want to have lock, student name only. Whenever he enters the data, I want to make it lock. So what does that mean? That should be available only while creating the record. Okay. So once you created the business rule, you have to save it. So for this purpose, you will be creating some name. So here I'm just giving the lock student name field. So whatever you are doing, you can give the same name here. And if you see, you have save button, validate button, save as, activate. Okay. So whenever you create a business rule, just make sure like you validate it, because whether it will work or not. So if you don't validate, if you click on direct activate also, it will do validation. Okay. Now I'm just activating this. So what will happen whenever you whenever the student name contains data, it will get locked, right? So I just activated the process. Now if you see, the scope is selected for entity, just have a eye on it. Why we selected scope, I will tell it. Now I just made changes, right? Here I'm refreshing. Now if you see here, whenever you are doing refresh, to reflect my changes, sometimes you need to do hard refresh. Control F12 or function F12. Right click on empty cache, hard refresh. Now if you see, you got this lock symbol. Once you get the lock symbol, you can't make any changes to value. Here you can enter anything, but if you try to enter here also, it won't allow. So lock means you will lock, you're making it lock, so no one can edit that value. So that means you're controlling, you're making, stopping the edit. Okay. That kind of thing we can do. Okay. Any questions here? Okay. Now this is for making lock. So we have few other, right? Let's create one more business rule to explore. I'm just creating, whenever student email contains ac.in, like that. If I want to say, see here, you can use whatever the action you want to keep. Okay. Show log, show error message, add recommendation, anything you can put. Suppose for my, I am just want to have set visibility. So on my form, I have only two columns, right? So what I will do, I would add one more form, one more field on the form. So let's assume, let's keep this status, save and publish. Here, whenever student email contains is ac.in, I want to assume like I want to hide that field. Set field, sorry, set, not set field value. So you have to hide it, show with set visibility. So here I need to select the field, which field you want to highlight. Status. So I want to state visibility, yes means it will appear. I don't want visible, right? I just keep no. Now, if you see here, whenever student email contains AC means it will work. So here status visibility. I'm just giving some name. Now I'm activating. Activated. Now if you see, I just made the changes. I'm just refreshing, hard reloading. Now if you see, it contains AC.in. That's why it is automatically reflecting. Suppose if I change something else to gv.in. So this time it has to show, right? But it's not showing. Why? Because once it is hidden, you have to make it unhid as well. So here I'm just using set visibility, no, hide field. But you are not doing unhid, right? That's why it is not appearing. Let's check for unmove record. What is this record? This also has AC.in. So it will, here also, by default, if you see, it is appearing, it is hiding. Be able to observe. So whenever it is, whenever on load, it is appearing. But as we have this business rule, it is going immediately because your hide, it is going, it is hiding, it is hiding. Okay. So suppose if I change this value, something else, it has to show, right? But it's not showing. Why? In the business rule, you have just added a condition like if student email contains AC done in. Suppose if you modify this, you have to show field, right? That negative logic you haven't written. That's why it is not working. So whenever you create a business rule, you need to make sure like positive scenario and negative scenario. So in our scenarios, when student email contains AC dot, suppose if they changes to AC dot into something else, it has to show, right? So in the negative scenario, this is like true scenario. Condition matches. Here you are doing true. It is whatever the action you want to do. In the negative scenario, you will be doing the opposite. Here you are setting set visibility to no. Here you will set visibility to true. Like that, you need to handle negative scenario. Okay. Whenever you are, whenever you want to create any business rule, you need to apply both. You are mentioning some if condition means you should handle both scenario. What is the positive scenario for that case? What's the negative? Any questions here, Rizwan Ashok? Now I just added activating it. Now if you refresh my page, activating this. Now I have to refresh, right? So I'm just doing hard refresh here. Now it is appearing now. Suppose if you make, if I change this alias to something else, so whenever I click on save, it will go hidden. So because the rule is applying for a positive scenario now, if I change to something else, it will reflect immediately. Because I have a handled negative scenario like that, you need to make sure like whenever you create a business rule, you need to handle both what you want to do for positive, what you want to do for negative. So we have seen lock unlock, we have seen show hide. So what are the other actions we can do? Let's explore. So here, let me add few other fields to make use of them. I'm just adding created by, created on, modified on, status result. Now if you see, whenever you add the default buttons, these have locks, means you can't change them. So whatever the lock symbol you have, those are the out of the box fields, right? You haven't created the created by field, you haven't created the created on. Still it is available for student because those are the default fields. Okay. Now I want to create one more business rule. Let's go to business rule. And here I'm clicking on another one. So this time I want to see the remaining. What we have recommendation, show error message, assume. So for every business rule, you will be having some condition. Suppose if you want to have, by default, you want to apply some recommendation. So in such scenarios, you can keep created on contents data, because whenever you created a record, that will have a values, right? So you can keep like created on contents data or created by contents data, like that you can keep. So this is a always true scenario. Created on data will be always available. You can't make change as well. Okay, that's the kind of. Now I'm just publishing email. Now here what I want to do, here I want to show a recommendation. So whenever you click on the recommendation, you need to tell the field on which field you want to say recommendation. Let's assume I want to say recommend status. This is out of the box field. Recommendations. You can't make changes. So status is out of the box field, right? I just giving the same info like this. So when created contents data, you're just you're saying like show recommendation on status. This is out of the box field. You can't make changes. Okay. Now suppose if you want to show error message on something else, like where do you have error? Show error message. So if you click on error message, here you need to choose the field on which field you want to show error message. Okay. Please make sure alias is correct. Ideally, you won't show error message on default conditions. You will be checking for something and you will be showing. I'm just using two actions at one time. So I'm just saving this. Before saving it, you need to give a name, right? So try to give some name. Recommendation. I'm just validating it. Validation is successful and activating. So one question here. So by default, if whenever you are choosing creating business rule, you are just giving the scope as entity, right? But you have some other options, all forms, information forms. So whenever you want to create a business rule, that should work for in the UI in the backend also. For that type, you will be creating entity. Suppose you want to validate this business rule only in the forms. So you will be selecting all forms. If you want to validate this business rule only on the particular form, you will be selecting the information. So as a best practice, you will choose entity always. So the rule will be applied always. Any questions here? Deactivated. Activated, right? Now I will do hard refresh. So all my fields will be added. Now if you see on the status, you have this recommendation. Whenever you click on this bulb, you are seeing, right? This is the recommendation. This is out of the box field. You can't make changes. Okay. And for the same time, for this email, what it is saying, please make sure alias is correct. This is it is showing in a red color. Okay. Now if you see, as you are showing error, you are not able to save the changes. Okay. So when you are showing error message, you can't save the form. Suppose if the user enters some number or anything here, you can check like if contents number, you can check like please make sure your alias is correct and you won't allow to save. Like that, you want to restrict user. In such scenarios, you will be using the this show error message. The recommendation will be basically used for to give the info. So we are whenever you're clicking on the bulb, information bulb. it is giving like this is out of the box field. You can't make change. So you are just giving the hint. Also, if you see, you have some apply. So if you closely observe, once I created the business rule, I just added the action as well. So in the action, what I mentioned, I'm just clearing the student email. So if you apply, it will clear the student email. See, so like that you will be validating. Any questions? So based upon the need, you will be adding those fields. Okay. Now we are done with business rules. So I just covered all right. What else left we have? Set field value. Set field value, very generic one. Set field value, set default value. You will be setting the values. So here, suppose status is you have, right? Suppose any custom field you have, you want to set that value automatically. So in that purpose, you will be using the set field value. And you have set business required. Set business required means you are making that field as a mandatory. Now let me create one more. I'm just keeping active as it is. So let me create one more field like uh, student, right? College name. So for this one, I will be using lookup field instead of regular field. And do we have college entity in the system? Let's hope that we have. Do we have? No. So instead of lookup, I will be selecting choice. So simple behavior, and I'm just giving the options like let's assume this is a branch, branch pursuing. So here I'm just giving the branches. So what's my requirement? What I want to do now, whenever student enters the email, he has to give the branch details mandatorily. Like that, I want to force the user. So for that purpose, you need to use the set business required business rule. Okay. Perceiving spelling wrong. Oh, that's fine. Now I'm just clicking here and just clicking perceiving. Now saving and publish. Now I just created, and here I'm just adding student. I'm going back to business rule, creating a new business, right? Like branch enforcement. Some business, new business rule I'm creating. So here, so when I want to do fill, whenever student fills the email, I want to enter it, right? Whenever student email contains data. So then I want to make it set business required. So business required means you they have to fill the details. So branch pursuing, making business required. As I said, this is the positive scenario. What will be the negative scenario? You have to, whenever they clear the value, you have to make it not mandatory, right? So set business required, branch pursuing is not business required. Okay. So you are making like optional. Now let's see this behavior. I have just upload changes. Now I want to validate. validation error. So that's why I'm asking you to do validate. So what it is saying, there is one error in this. So if you expand this, what it is saying, one error found here. So here, whatever you have to choose, where it is, this entity you have, right? So here you have selecting branch. Here ideally we are selecting student email. Somehow it is selected this one, contents data. Now it will work. Validate successful. Suppose if you make anything like looped, like you are selecting that field only, you are setting that field only, or like that. If you do, it will give validation error. So I'm giving activating now. Activate. Now come back to this tool. Refresh. Now if you see, as it contains data, it is showing star as a mandatory. Suppose if you remove this and save it, it is going the star mark. So you can give the data, or you can't give the data. But if you give any data here, like so once you give data, what will happen? You have to these details. Then only you can say, you can able to say. So that's the meaning of business required. You are making mandatory business required means. Okay. So business required, instead of while creating the field also we will choose, right, whether this is required or not. So suppose if you want to control based upon other field, here you are selecting, right, business required, business requirement optional. So while creating the field, you can mention that, you can decide it whether this is a mandatory. Suppose if you select here in the business required, this has to be given always. If you don't have any business rule, this has to enter always. Suppose if you want to control this business required based upon some other field value, some other conditions, you will be using the business rules. Okay. I hope you are clear here. Any questions? Cool. So basically like this, we will be using the business rules. And next thing here, so if we observe yesterday, whenever we are creating fields, we have seen simple behavior, calculated behavior, roll up behavior, right? Let's explore that today. Now here, I'm just using same solution. So let's create some other field, like on the feedback entity, create a new column. That is nothing but I think we have student lookup already there, right? Let's go see here. See, student lookup is already there. So now what I will do on this student feedback, I will be creating one field, new field. Okay. So here you have to create on student only. I'm creating on student. So I'm creating like new field like total feedback submitted. I'm just giving whole number. Okay. Now, now tell me, suppose if you don't have, suppose here you have entered student one entered the feedback, same student entered one more feedback. So he has selected S1 only, and he has filled the same college, and he just given the different info. So one can multiple, he can apply multiple times, right? So like that, he just entered one more feedback. Now I want to calculate the score. So how many times he has applied, like that I want to calculate. So for that purpose, if you don't have any mechanism to calculate, you need to do manually, right? So with help of this calculated and roll up fields, you can do automatically. Okay. Now if you see here, we are selecting total feedback submit whole number. Then if you see here in the format, we are not selecting anything, none, number only. In the behavior, you have calculated and roll up. Now let's select calculated. So to make, so calculated fields are nothing but like a formulas, Excel formulas. So what you want to do like that, okay? So I'm just creating and calculated field. Here I'm condition. I do you want to have any condition. If you want, you can keep. Otherwise, not required. I'm not keeping any condition. Here, add action. So here, if you see, you have these many formulas there. We just discussed like calculated fields are like formulas, right? So total feedback submitted. So for this scenario, what I'm expecting, I want to collect all the feedbacks, right? But if we see here, we have add days, add hours, add weeks. This kind of only you have difference in days, difference in hours, name, student email, lookup. Okay. So with this calculator fields, you will be setting. Now, what I want to do for the same student entity, I will be creating one more field like age, age approx. So here I will be selecting whole number again, and this time I'm selecting calculated, same again. Now, whenever do we have date of birth field on student? We don't have it. So let me create a date of birth field. So what will happen whenever they give the date of birth, automatically you can able to collect, calculate the age. So for that we can create a formula. That is nothing but a calculator field. Okay. Date of birth I am selecting. So date of birth should be time, right? So I'm just giving date and time and simple. This will be simple only. Okay. Now let's go back to business role. In the business role, what I want to do, I want to set age approximately whenever they enter the age, date of birth. So here I will be choosing the date of birth field. What is this? Do we need to refresh? Okay, let me refresh. Where is the field? Age. Okay. I'm clicking editor. Here, whenever they have date of birth contains data. Because if you don't enter any data, how do you calculate? So we need to keep condition. Even it is optional, it's kind of a validation. Okay. Now action, what I want to do, I want to set the age. How do you set? You have add hours, add months, like this, right? So same way you have difference in years. So if you select the difference in years, what is the formula you can use? So if you see difference in minutes, difference in months, difference in start date time and end date time. So for this one, they are entering the date of birth. So that will be the start date, right? And they are entering the negative. And whenever the record is created, that will be the negative, right? So here you can use date of birth column, LUT date of birth. Also, you can need to pass the age, right? So when do you calculate? Whenever record is created, by that till then only you will be calculating. So you have to give the created on of this record. I'm just in set. Now saving. So I created new date of birth field on the form, right? So I have to add it. on the form to see this behavior. Any
Uh,
questions here?
I have
This one.
in this calculator solution we use this schema you know,
In, sorry,
schema
schema names.
schema names exactly. I
So
use
schema names you are using the creator means creator and schema is coming, right?
calculator calculator right now.
I'm not getting you. What?
Um, while creating a calculated uh,
While creating calculated field, what's the doubt?
in that the time it was used by schema name,
Schema.
right?
Okay, let me go back just to that entity table. You just tell me. So I just created a calculator field for this age approx. So what it is doing, you are just checking whether date of birth contains data, first condition. Okay.
It
Then you are
adds this actually.
difference in years, date of birth minus created.
Um,
So what you are asking here?
in this area, schema name is added, right?
Yeah, this is schema name only. Yeah.
Okay.
Schema names you will learn later, but if you search for date of birth also you are getting right. Schema names is a
Yeah.
different part. We will come next. Okay. Don't focus on that. Now I just added rule. I just paste it on the form. Now I'm publishing. Now done, right? Now here I'm just refreshing the page to see my changes. So what I did, whenever I'm entering the date of birth, automatically it is calculating age. So for this also it is locked because this has to be calculated. You shouldn't enter, right? That's why it has lock. So I'm giving date of birth, something like 2020. You can give anything. Now if you, whenever you click on save, this is a branch pursuing. Whenever you click on save, you have 24. So automatically it age is calculating. Getting. So suppose if you, in the real scenario, if the both are editable, date of birth and age, he will enter 2001. Here you will keep 21. That will be like a data mismatching, right? So to make it accurate while creating the data itself, we will be making more effective. We will be keeping conditions. We will be keeping rules, everything. Getting why we are using business rules? To apply conditions on the data, we will be using business rules. Okay. In the business rules, same way, here you want to calculate something automatically, right? So you are using some kind of formula. So this date minus whenever record is created, that will give you the difference. That will be the age, right? So here you are mentioning. Okay. Now what I want to know, for this student, he is applying n number of feedback. Now I want to calculate the how many feedbacks he applied, or I want to calculate what is the fees he is mentioning in each. Suppose in the student feedback, you have the fees column, right? Somewhere where it is this fee. So here he mentioned something, here he mentioned something. I want to calculate the average fee mentioned. Okay. So in that scenarios, so you can use the aggregate. You can use the roll-up field. So roll-up field will be worked whenever you have a relationship. 1:n relationship, n:1 relationship. Like that, whenever you have a relationship, then only it will work. So I am creating like new field average fee mentioned by user, mentioned by student. So in general, to calculate average fee, you have to go through all records. You have to make it divided by the number of records he submitted. Like that thing you need to do, right? But here you don't need to do all the stuff. System can take care. So here instead of be simple, you need to click roll up, save and edit. So once you click on this save this field, it will open a new window, roll up window. Now here add related entity. What is my related entity? I have only one student. I created student feedback. Now here add aggregation you have, right? So here you can choose whatever the operation you want to do. Suppose if you want to do sum, you can do sum. If you can find the maximum fees he entered, you can see what is the minimum fees he entered by him. Like that. Suppose if you want to calculate average, you can do the average. So with aggregate fields, you can do these four operations only. Sum of the child entities, maximum of the child entities, or minimum of the child entities, or average. Now I'm just want to calculate average fees entered by him, right? Also I'm keeping average. Now if you see here in the you have one information kind of alert is there. The mass calculated of student this roller field job will automatically scheduled by the run approximately 12 hours. So this roll up calculation, this will be taken care by Microsoft Dataverse only. So for every 12 hours, this will be calculated. It will be reflected. Okay. Now if you see here, I'm just created roll of field and I will place this field in the form. Clicking on new tab. Here, I'm just inserting one more average is mentioned by student. So if you see here, if you are getting this calculator symbol, what does it mean? This that is a calculated roll up field. For a calculator field, you will be having log. For the roll up field, you will be having a symbol. Now I'm just refreshing my page to see my latest changes. So when did I added on the student entity, right? So you have to go to student in the sitemap, select students table, use the record, whatever you want to see. So open this. Now if you see total feedback sample, this is the column we use, right? If you see average we mentioned is student is blank. So right now, just now we have created, right? This will, for every 12 hours, it will run. So for that purpose, you need to wait 12 hours to reflect this data. Suppose if you open by tomorrow, this S1 student has two records in the feedback, student feedback, right? Let me add the student column. So here, if you choose, S1 has two records. So for this aggregate average value, the job will run, but it will run every system defined time. It's not our, it won't run on our whenever we need. Okay. Right now it is the last update is not available. After a certain time it will be available, right? So that time you will have the timestamp when it is updated. Suppose you created one more student feedback, it will update in the next 12 hour cycle. Getting roll up calculation will work like that. So it will run at system defined time intervals. If you do any modification in the middle also, it won't reflect immediately. It will reflect whenever the job runs. Any questions here? So what are the operations we can do with roll up? Sum operation, sum of child records. You can find the maximum of child records. You can find the minimum of it, and you can find the average. Okay. Any questions here? Now here we are using student feedback as a child entity, right? So you can keep the subgrid as well to see the related entities. So here I haven't placed it earlier. Now I'm adding a subgrid. What is my entity? Student feedback, right? So you are just keeping that, adding it here in the new tab. Here I'm just giving feedback, and here the control name, the subgrid name I'm giving like feedback submitted. Save and publish. Now I'm doing a hot refresh to my page. Go to new tab. It's not yet reflected. Let me do hot refresh. Doing refresh again. So go back to this feedback. Here you have these fields, and you have the related records. So to show the related records, we will be using the subgrid. Okay. In that subgrid, you will be selecting the target entity, which one you want to use. So if you open the same record tomorrow, you will have the average fee mentioned by student. But for these two records, we have given the fees, right? So here it will be updated. You can see the timestamp when it is updated. Okay. So like that, we'll be using the calculator and roll up fields. Now let's go to one more time to the calculated. Let's see what are the features it is supporting. Now I'm just creating some total count randomly. I'm just giving whole number. You're choosing calculated. Click on save and edit. So when you do save and edit, it will show this calculated window. So here in the actions, if you see, these are the actions it will support. Add days. Suppose if you enter any date, it will, if you want to, suppose you are giving your back to service. So whenever you are giving to service, that will be the today's date, right? By default, you want to give like what you call service in date, like some 30 days, like that you want to give. You can add the number 30 numbers plus date. You can add the add hours. Suppose if you want to create an SLA, you can use add hours. You can use add months like warranty things. Like this, you can use years as well. Now, if you see for the string operations, you have concatenation, single line of text, single line of text. So suppose whenever a record is created, I want to concatenate student name and college name. If you want to do like that, or if you want to concatenate student name and branch name, something like that, you can be using this concatenation. So string operations. Same way you have lookup fields, you can set the lookup fields, and you can use the created on dates. And if you see just now we have seen differential years, right? Whenever user enters the date of birth, automatically we are calculating the date, age. Same way you can use difference in weeks to in two numbers, two dates, like that. Okay. Like that you can use this calculator. If you see now also, so whenever you want to update today's present timestamp, you can use this now field. Okay. And if you want to subscribe to days, you can give the whole number days, everything same like add days. And if you see at the end, you have trim left, trim right. So these are like string operations. You want to concatenate anything and you want to trim the string, you will be using the string functions. Are you clear? Now, this is about calculated. Also, we have seen roll up. Now if you see, whenever you create any entity, by default you could observe few buttons, right? Suppose if you see, you have show chart button, you have new button, delete, refresh, visualize the view. These are, you haven't do anything. By default, they are coming, right? So whatever the default buttons we are getting, right? Those are like out of the box button. Sys, record set navigator, save, nav close, save and close. So these are the default buttons. So whenever you do click on this, something will happen. So for the save, it is creating save. If I click on new, it is opening a new record. So like that, it is doing a particular operation, right? So far we have seen which are the buttons. All those are like OOB buttons. Suppose if you want to deactivate record, you will be using this button. If you want to delete, you will be using delete. If you refresh this button, it will just refresh the record. So all these are OOB. So in the CRM, you can create your own custom buttons as well. Okay. Now to create a custom buttons, you have to go to your model driven app. Okay. Suppose if you have this app for our student feedback scenario. Now open this. Now once you open this app, you are added a student feedback entity in the sitemap, right? This student feedback, I want to create a new button. Suppose you have default, you have some buttons. Now you want to add some other button to do some particular action. For that scenarios, you will be choosing this student feedback. If you click on this three dot, you have edit command bar. So with this, what you will do, you can control the all the buttons. Okay, now if you see edit command bar for student feedback. So this is opening for student feedback entity. Now if you see choose a command bar to edit main grid, main form, subgrid view, associated view. What do you mean by why we are getting these many options? So whenever you created an entity, that entity can be, you can open on the form. So in that scenarios, you have to use main form. So that entity can be shown in a view. So in that scenarios, you can use that main grid. Also, that entity can be shown in a subgrid. Just now we have added students in students in table. We have added the feedback subgrid, right? So like that, whenever where do you want to add the button? Like that, we need it is asking. Okay. So here we have feedback subgrid. So here you need to choose at which place you want to add button. So let's assume I want to create a button directly in the main grid. Means this is the main grid, right? So I want to create a button here. So here I'm choosing main grid, clicking on edit. Now whatever the buttons appearing here, all those will be appearing here as well. New, delete, edit, show, all this, visualize the everything. Now here I want to create a new button. So if you see, I'm just clicking on a new button. Now command is means you are creating a new button and you have drop down option, split option, we will come to that later. So I'm just creating new button. So whenever you're creating a button for the first time, you have to install the Power Effects library. So you can just select it and you can continue. So earlier we used to have only JavaScript. Now they have given Power Effects because we are in the Power Platform, right? Everything they are added into Power Platform. So it will take some time to. What will happen in the backend? It will create a library for you. Now a new button is created. Now I want to name as this as a my custom button. So here if you see, if you want to set any icon for this button, for if all this button for the text you have something before you have some symbol, right? Same way if you want to keep any icon, you can use icon. Here you can use already existing. If you want anything, if you can keep that one. Like I am selecting accept symbol, so it will show like this. Now if you see, as we have selected power effects, here you can run the formulas directly. So suppose if you want to control this button based upon the some view or data entry, you can use this. Okay. Now if you see, by default I'm showing true. Suppose I want to show on based upon records values. Okay. Record info. So what is my entity? Student feedback, right? See, student feedback views, you need to select it. Active feedback start count. Student feedbacks view invalid document expected table value instead. So here just select the table only. So let's select again student. Okay, now save. Still you are getting some error. The first I mentioned one column table. So here you can see the template. What is the formula? What we need to pass everything. Column values of count. Count the numeric values in the specified column. Okay, yeah, first argument. So whenever you get this error, you can search it. That's okay. So for now, I just creating the button. I will show it on the form how to use. Okay. So save and publish. So as we created a new button, right? That will be available here in the my main grid. Now I'm doing hot refresh. This Power FX is newly came last 1 year max. That's why even I didn't get a chance to explore much. So if you see earlier we have all these buttons. Right now you could see my custom button. Suppose if I created a one more button on the form level, I'm just going back to sitemap, model to nav. Here I'm just clicking on the edit command bar. Now this time I'm selecting the editor. I'm selecting the main form. Here also I can create a new buttons and I can add the formulas. So I'm just giving like form custom button. Now here you have run formula again. This time what I want to do based upon some value I want to show. So if you see visibility you have, action you have, and based upon some value you want to show it. Okay. Now this time I want to use student feedbacks, right? So you need to select this entity like this. Then you need it will come the values actually. Student feedbacks dot it's not coming table. One second, let me search it. uh, Power effects from the for model apps. So you can do this like this. You need to mention D6 CRM. You need to give a problem. So to show command button, set visibility, open formula bar. If self-selected item like this, they are selecting. One second. Now let's go back to self because the same thing it will be work different in the Canvas app. We will be using same here. Self. What they are saying self if selected dot contents. Let's copy this entire, but it won't work in model. Yes. Now, now, so here, whenever I click on item, it will list out the all the column names. So, if selected branch name like equals to, I want to see here instead of boolean field, I want to check the string, right? Branch name is what is my branch name here? That is a option set, right? So you have to give the option set value. So whenever you create a option set field, by default you will be getting number, right? That number you have to give it. Now I'm just choosing where it is easy. Okay, here I'm just finding the option set values. Show option set values. Branch. So if selected item branch name contains, you are showing true, otherwise false. So that's what you are defining visibility. Show on condition form. Okay. Like this, you can give the formulas. Same in the main grid level also, you can give the formulas. Okay. I will give the template, everything set of thing, what we need to give everything. Now I just created this. Now I'm doing hot refresh. Okay, it's not loaded. Suppose if I select something else, is it showing? Don't think it reflected. So like this, the buttons also you can control based upon the values. Okay. Sorry, student. I created on the student feedback. Okay, okay. I'm checking on student. I'm creating a new button. But if you see that I don't have the two branch name here in the form. Okay. I have to choose one of these. So I'm going back to this formula. I'm editing the formula again. Instead of branch name, what should I select? College name is yes, sir. So changing this column on the student uh, college name, right? College name, college student feedback, college fee, college. Why we are not getting college name? So this is okay. Okay, this is default name field. Okay. Now I want to check whether it is a yes or university or not. Right? It's a string, right? You have to use double quotes. Save and publish. play. Now, right now you are doing, you're writing formulas to show the buttons to control the visibility of the buttons, right? In general, we will be writing the JavaScript. So that thing will be like more complex and more needed in real time. So we will be seeing in the upcoming. So right now I'm just adding the basic level. So if you see, now it is showing form custom button. If I change something else, that will go because I changed the value, right? So based upon this field only, that will be showing. Like that, you can write a formulas. Same like calculated field, row field, same like business rules. You can give a formulas for buttons as well. Okay, that's for you will be using Power Effects for that buttons. Getting here. So whenever you create buttons, just create use Power Effects. Don't create on JavaScript for now. For JavaScript, we will be seeing in the next classes. Okay, upcoming after 10 days. Any questions here? Hi, Murugan.
Yeah, hi Haris, hi team.
So when I am giving the end-to-end steps for the this practice as well, but whenever you are blocked, you just learn how to search it in the Google or ChatGPT. So here I was blocked with some right formula. So I just entered. So it gave the results. So I should know what should I replace from this text value from the Google. Where should I make changes? That's the thing you need to learn. Okay. So because we at the end we will be showing some experience on the CRM, right? So we should show that expertise. So when do you get expertise? When you do practice only.